Bigger batteries, killer wiring. We upgrade David's battery charger and find some potentially lethal cabling.
Earth, the ground, has been cut out. But look at this live. Can you see? Someone has stripped it with a Stanley knife and exposed the wire after the terminal.
And as we do the work, we explain the right way to connect batteries in parallel, not the wrong way.
Well, today we're on a different boat, and those of you who watch us regularly will know what boat we're on. It's winter and the owner's back in the UK. We look after his boat for him while he's away, do little maintenance jobs, bits and pieces. Just before he left, he upgraded his batteries from two 185 amp hour lead acids to 3195, I believe, and I'll show you some of the pictures before and after. But when he upgraded, he only had a small charger, and therefore you need to change the charger. So this is a Victron Phoenix Smart IP43 charger, 3 outlets. Only going to use 2 of these. We'll show you what we're replacing, and it's going to be fitted in here in place of the old battery charger. But first, alright, let's show you what we're going to replace. So we did these batteries here. That's 2 of them. The third one is up there. I've got some rubber caps to go over these positive terminals and negative terminals there. You can see it's all tidied up in here because we now go to 2 bus bars. If we can, so this positive cable here goes down through there and into the bus bar. Same with this positive cable and the one that goes up to that battery, and all of those are the same length and all the negatives are the same length. That means that the batteries are all charged at the same rate because the resistance in the cable is the same. So it's important that when you have these more than one battery, that you have the same resistance to all of the batteries from the load and the charge.
Let's put up a couple of drawings and show you what I mean, show you how this works. Okay, just for illustration, David's shore power is 240 volts AC. It has a live, earth and a neutral coming in on the high voltage side to his new charger. Obviously, if you were in the States, you'd be having 120 volts AC, and that would be at 60 Hertz as you operate on a different voltage. But the principle is the same. Let's have a look at the output. So the output on David's boat from his battery charger is 12 volts DC at 50 amps with the ability to charge 3 different lots of batteries: domestic, engine and of course bow thruster, which he doesn't have. Now his domestic battery bank is made up from 3 190 amp hour batteries, which are in parallel, giving 12 volts and 570 amp hours in total. I've drawn 4 here just for illustration, but you'll see why in a moment. So if we'd connected all of the batteries in parallel using a common negative and a common positive, with the first battery in the line being connected straight to the charger, the batteries would charge, but the first battery in the line would be the first one to take the major amperage loads and also the charge, which would shorten its life cycle quite considerably. This is not the way to connect your batteries in parallel. So again, just for illustration, the biggest amount of power in and out would come from the first battery, and the smallest amount of power in and out from the last battery in that circuit. A slightly better way of doing it would be to take the power from the immediate ends of the battery bank, i.e. drawing power from the two ends and charging from the two ends. This would equalise the two end batteries and the two centre batteries, but the two end batteries would still be taking the majority of the load under heavy load conditions. There is a much better way, and that better way is this. So this drawing illustrates how making the live or positives and the neutrals or negatives all the same length to a bus bar. What this does is it equalises the current draw across all of the batteries, both when they're under load and when they're being charged. Thus all of the batteries are being treated exactly the same, and one battery doesn't fail or end up charging another battery, which is what happens in the previous two illustrations. So that's the proper way to do it. Okay, let's move on. Now, just as a word of caution, I know of a number of boats which have come straight out of the factory and had their batteries wired as the first example. The batteries have then failed within 18 months, so check yours are wired correctly.
Now here is the existing battery charger. It's a quick 251, I think it is. It's only a 20 amp charger. And with this amount of batteries you need something that's charging at 50 plus amps, or at least 50 amps. I would say 45-50 amps for this amount of amp hours of batteries. So these are 190s. There's 3 190s, so that's what's that, 570 odd amp hours of batteries. We should really measure them in watt hours because that's more appropriate, as watts are what we use. Watt hours are what we use, not amp hours. Okay, let's get on and open up this Victron, this one here. See what we've got. This is the Bluetooth model, which will integrate with David's solar, because he did a big solar upgrade last year, you'll remember. We featured that in a video. So all of these will talk to each other. Let's see what we've got in here. That looks to me like a mains cable. Yeah, European plug on it. And then just a couple of collections there. Mains goes in there, and then batteries, negative there, and the positives in there. Couldn't be any more straightforward. Right, so before we start, first thing we want to do is turn off the mains, which is that one there. It's the mains isolator. Now the 240 volts, 220 volts, European at 50 hertz is not going to give us a nasty flavour in the mouth. That'll turn off. You can unscrew that and take it off. I'll isolate the batteries as well. That's just to turn the isolator off. Let's bring you in here. So if there's our charger all disconnected from the wall, we've got the 12 volt down here to disconnect and the 240 volt, and I just wanted to trace where that 240 volt goes, and it actually goes into what's called a joint box, which is a bit naughty really. Okay, so a couple of seconds ago I said I was going to take the top off that joint box, and I moaned and complained as to why I don't like joint boxes. Now let me show you something. That's that joint box there. Look at the centre of the joint box. Can you see there's a green and yellow cable, an earth which isn't connected. Can you see it? Just right in the centre there. That's not right. So I think what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to put this, make sure this is done properly and safely. That is just not, it's just not right. We'll do it properly. So I thought I'd just show you this. I've taken out the other cables and look at this one. Can you see that? There's a neutral and a live in the same terminal. That is potentially lethal. Holy divine Jesus. Right, anyway, grumble over, let's put it right, let's make it right. Well, that's our mains undone. I've traced back these two wires here, and that one's the one with the earth cut out. We'll trace those back, see where they go, put a decent joint on them. Here is the mains feed for the charger, goes in there, and now we've just got to undo these little Allen key bolts. So we have one which is common, which is the negative by lots of things, that one there, and then 1 and 2, which are the two batteries. One is for the starter battery and one is the domestic. Okay, we've got our multimeter out, and this isn't mine, this is David's. I'm using all David's tools rather than bring mine onto the boat. It's a lot easier. It's got a good, reasonable quality multimeter here. Just checked it works okay. It is on continuity. You can hear, yep, that's okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to check which one of these is the negative and then which one is the positive, back to either the starter motor, the starter battery, or the domestic. Doesn't matter which one it is, because once we find one, we know that the other will be the other one. So first thing I'm going to do is put one cable on, sorry, one test lead on there, and then one on the negative down there. And although the negative, although the power is switched off, the negative stays connected. Let's show you what I mean. I don't know if you can see that. So onto that one, which I assume is the negative, and then onto the negative bus bar, and if I'm correct this will beep. Yes, so we know that that one is definitely the negative, that blue one, and the numbering on these 1 and 2 will refer to the domestic and the engine battery. So we just need to find out which one of those is which. We do exactly the same. Right, so here I'm on number 1. Number 1, I'm going to the positive of the engine battery, and I've got continuity. Yes. Just put those back in there. Yeah, 12 volt, oh, 25 amp. 251 quick. So yeah, 25 amp battery charger, that one. Same connections, much the same as the Victron. So we have a negative there and then 3 positives. We'll put that to one side. I don't know what Davey wants to do with that. Probably sell it or keep it as a spare. Right, so we're just about to put this in. What I'm going to do is screw it up on the back plate. On Bavaria's there's a back plate. I don't know if you can see the solar chargers there. I fitted that one. This one stands off quite a bit. You can see there's a good 7-8 mil underneath these cooling vanes. Right, let's look at chargers, connections rather. So our AC input goes in here. We have a battery AC lead which goes in there, has this little clip over, stops it coming out. Really good idea. Negative to the battery, which is common, and then we have 1, 2, 3 outputs. We have a remote, we We have the VE Direct, which you can connect up to screens, etc, etc. And there's actually a relay in here as well, which is there's one which is normally open, and then the centre, and one which is normally closed. So common, sorry, not centre. So we're not going to be using any of those. We're just going to be using those and connecting those to these three here and the mains once we've got the mains sorted out. So let's get on with that. I don't know if you can see that there. Yeah. So there is our common, the negative. Number 1 is our engine battery, and number 2 is our domestics. Good solid clamping on these Victron. Really impressed with that. I've not fitted one of these before, but as with all Victron gear, it's pretty damn good. We have got an earth lug here. I think the American code requires that this is earthed. I know that the UK, I can't remember what edition we're on now, but the regulations in the UK say that all metal should be bonded back to earth, any exposed metal, so we'll bond that back to the earth as well. Once we get it in position, that's where the mains plugs in. We've just got to sort out this hickledy-pickledy here, mount this up on the wall, but I thought I'd show you how good these connections are, really good and solid. Just sorting out the wiring for this mains, for this charger. I just wanted to show you something. Now that I've pulled this cable out, and Cindy's going to help me identify the other end, I just wanted to show you something. So this is what this cable that came out, and we know that the earth, the ground, has been cut out. But look at this live. Can you see? Someone has stripped it with a Stanley knife and exposed the wire after the terminal. Now that potentially could have hit any other of these cables because it's not protected. So this bit is live, and if this had been long enough to touch that, it would have gone live. And the other thing is, at the other end, where you can see it's cut out, let me just turn this over so you can see. I've actually just been on the phone to David in the UK and told him. You can see this neutral, this blue wire, has been stripped all the way up to the end. That cut goes all the way up there. And that's where somebody has split that with a Stanley knife to cut the outer sheathing off, gone right through the outer sheathing, through the neutral protector, right up to the very end. So again, potentially this would give you electric shock if it touched that little piece of copper that's sticking out there, touched on there. That all becomes live. That's, you know, potentially lethal. You know, 240 volts will kill you. Rarely, but it will kill you. So I thought I'd show you that. We've mounted the charger. We just got to trace back this cable, this white cable here. That one there, my glamorous assistant is now. And we're going to find out where that goes. I think that is the live feed, the 240 volt feed from the breaker. And if it is, then we're just going to do a decent fitting on the end. I've got something in planned for that to make it a decent fitting. Right, let's see if we can find that. Right, well, we seem to have got to the long and short of it. That cable that came through there actually went up through this conduit here, through the back of the chart table, into the mains here, and into this little connector. What we're going to do is we're going to replace this, the right size cable, back down to there. So a lot of jiggery pokery. Actually, whoever did the original stuff has marked it all up and looks good. It's just whoever put the extra sockets in and put this, well, what can only be described as death trap in, as made a poor job, but we're going to put it right now, so there we go. Right, well, plan B, what we've managed to do is, this is the mains plug for this. It's a bit short at the moment, and that's purely because I'm connecting the other end, but managed to pull it all the way through up to the mains. I'll connect it properly using the correct connectors, pull this back and plug that in there. Bob's your uncle, Fanny's your aunt. Proper job, and done away with all of that nasty wiring, and it will be on its own 5 amp breaker, which is what it wants. So we've got a 5, a 10 and a 15, and I think it will go on the 5 without any problems. Right, let's do that. Get it in, get it on. Let's show you what's happened. So at this end there's a special plug which goes into the back of these breakers. I've disconnected, as you saw earlier, the mains voltage from the shore power, so this is all dead at the moment. So now the correct cable goes into the correct connector, which then clips into the back of here. We then pull a little bit of slack back the other way, plug that in, put this all back in, do up the little wing nut screws that hold that all in. Then we can turn the charger on and get it set up. So first thing is to plug this back in there, neutral at the top, live at the bottom. Don't really like these kind of plugs, but that's what's on the boat. There we are, that's in. A little bit of cable back down that conduit. I'll pull it from the other end. Let's just pull it from the other end, so we've got enough. Here we are, that's it. And then this goes in there, and that clips on there. I think I might put a bit of tape around that just to stop that coming undone. You see that? Okay, so that's on, that's there. Battery isolators back on. I'm not going to put the shore power on until I've got this in, because I don't want to get a shock. I'm going to put my hands in the back there, can't see what's going on, so I'll get this put back in and then I'll put the shore power on, I think. Okay folks, so the panels are all back in. Mains is on. Let's switch that on and switch our battery isolator on. There we go. That should, there we are, look at that. Let's put our battery on, battery charger on. So job's a good one. What we'll do is just get my phone in a minute, check the Bluetooth's all working. I'm going to put a little bit of tape around the bottom of that plug where that little wire thing comes in, just to stop it waving about and falling out. Going through the motions, see what the battery voltage is doing. Over here, 14.21 and 14.4, 14.5 on the other battery. So yeah, that's it, all going, all working, all fixed up. Job's a good one.
So with the job all done, I quickly went on to the Bluetooth app and upgraded the software for the Victron charger, set up an Eternity group for all of the Bluetooth items that he's now got, and stuck them all on that, and they're all talking to each other. So he's got full Victron stuff He's just got to get a Bluetooth dongle now for his battery monitor, and then that's it. Everything talks to one another. It's a really good upgrade. I'm sure he'd be very happy with that. This is the schematic of the system that we've done. We have all of our positive and negative feeds to and from the batteries, all the same length. All of the resistances are the same, and everything is charging or discharging equally. With 2 batteries and a spare, and yeah, I'm sure David will be over the moon with it. So over this summer, or this coming summer, we're going to be monitoring David's system as well as our own lithium, and we'll let you know how the two compare. Well, that's another video done. If you like our videos, remember, give us a thumbs up, share them, and subscribe. Only about 50% of you are subscribed, and you won't see our videos unless you're subscribed. And every video is different. Some are maintenance, some are sailing, and some are other stuff. So don't forget, subscribe. And hit that little bell icon in the corner so that you get notified every time one of our videos comes out. Until next time guys, sail safe, enjoy the rest of the video.